Kanai Thakur Prabhu for the wonderful lecture. And I wish all the devotees who came here a wonderful Sunday afternoon. Continuing on with our Sunday Feast lecture today, we have a very special guest. His Grace Siddhanta Prabhu. Siddhanta Prabhu is the disciple of Srila Prabhupada, and he was initiated in 1974 and joined the movement in 1971. So he's been practicing Krishna consciousness for the last 50 years. That's close to 50 years. And the other aspect is that Srila Prabhupada influenced so many devotees all over the world with his profound example. And Siddhanta Prabhu has been meticulously interviewing the devotees and capturing their realizations of Srila Prabhupada, which would have been forgotten had he not put this effort for last 30 years or so. So without much ado, please give a warm round of applause for Siddhanta Prabhu for capturing the memories of Srila Prabhupada. So without further ado, all yours. Without further ado, please.
Thank you. Hare Krishna. Vanchakapatrupacha kripasindubevacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Jai Srila Prabhupada. I feel a little embarrassed to take up Kanai Thakur's other half hour. I thought originally when I came, how's anyone going to speak for 2 hours? And he could have gone on and I would have listened for another 3 hours. It was excellent. So. Truly a wonderful presentation. So I have to thank Nirakula and Vaisheshika for allowing me to come and present the memory series, which I started back in 1991, traveling around the world, interviewing Prabhupada disciples. I make the metaphor as if someone had the technology when Jesus left the planet. If someone had the camera and a recorder and a microphone, how valuable those interviews of his direct disciples would be. They would be no price, priceless. So in that same vein, we see Prabhupada as a pure devotee. And so I have taken some of my small talents. I was a film editor before I joined the movement, making movies, documentaries, etc. So I'm taking that philosophy of Rupa Goswami to employ your talents in Krishna's service. So it's a little talent that I have. So in that regard, produced now 76 DVDs, each one an hour and a half to 2 hours long. And it comprises of close to 400 Prabhupada disciples. And besides the videos, which we'll see a small sample of today, I have transcribed all the interviews into book form. So this is the 4th volume. This is the last one that I've published. I'm working on the 5th volume. And as a gift, I don't know if I brought enough, but please, as a gift, after the video, come up and out of the box, 1 book per family. This is my gift to you. So I was told by Nirakula that I should end by 5 till because we need to take time to take up the mats. The videos are self-explanatory. The devotees here are a variety that I've picked out of the 400 devotees I've interviewed, just to give you a sample of the idea, which in essence will actually give us another facet of Prabhupada. His qualities are not just the guru, which he is, giving us the philosophy of Krishna consciousness, but he was a human being. And he had qualities of humor, wit, compassion, humility, And it is through these interviews that we can see that quality that we can then develop our love for him. So this is the essence. So when you watch these videos, look at it with that angle of vision. So thank you very much. Can these lights be dimmed at all, or?
Namah Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Ite Namani.
So then on the initiation day, Radhashtami, before that, for about 2 weeks, I had some infection inside my mouth, so I couldn't brush my teeth properly. I was just gobbling with water, hot water and salt. And Delhi temple, Rajpat Nagar, very small room. It's a big Vyasasan. It's a fire is here, deities are here, fire is here, and Vyasasan is here. And Prabhupada sits at the tip of the Vyasasan like this. It's a big lotus asan. And I was like this close when I went to get the bead. So he's asking, Char niyam kya hai? So I said, no meat eating. And my mouth was like this close to his nose. And Prabhupada, he was sitting like this and like that, and he opened his eyes. He looked at me and he said, आप दांत ठीक से साफ क्यों नहीं करते? Why you're not cleaning your teeth properly? So I said, infection. So he said, infection. Then he turned around, took the bead from Gopal Krishna ji, gave it to me, chant 16 rounds. It was like, infection is the observation and chant 16 rounds is his prescription. And then he said, your name is Atma Tattva Das. They banged the mridanga, Hari Bol, and I came and sat down. I was not there. I was thinking, something has happened to me. I got initiated. I have a bead and I have my guru, and I was completely emotional. So that evening, right in the lawn in front of the temple, Prabhupada is giving evening darshan. So I took the chamara, went to fan him so that I can be close. So I most probably, maybe I was doing a big number on the chamara, one of those, so, and it's Radhashtami, it's cold. So he was feeling cold, so he looked at me like that. So then I became so slow that the flies were sitting on his face. And again, he looked at me like that while he was singing Radha Madhava, and I was so scared. So I didn't know whether to go fast or to go slow, but still I didn't want to give up that because I wanted to be there looking at him. So he sings Radha Madhava, and then he does Jayam prayers, and then thank you very much, and then he looks at me like this and said, material life is an infection. And there was like, some big bulldozer on my head. And then he puts his hand out, he lifts his shirt like this and said, you scratch, then you feel satisfied. Then he put his hand out again, you scratch more, you feel some satisfaction. You scratch more, then you stop. Not because you are satisfied, but blood comes. The rest of it I didn't hear. This line I just remember. And I was there just moving like a machine, but I was going through my whole life, and I was seeing that this person has gone into me and taken an X-ray report and given to me, that's what you are. Blood came.
My wife and I used to run a little store across the street called the Sarabi store. And I did get to do a little bit for Srila Prabhupada by making him dobs for his afternoon refreshment when he woke up. So the last year Srila Prabhupada was here with us in Los Angeles, GBC, came to another devotee and I named Bhaskara and asked us if we would like the devotional service of being Srila Prabhupada's bodyguard. They had used us a lot in the past for taking sums of money to the bank like that. And for 4 or 5 years I had carried a weapon all the time because of the rascals and things that had gone on in New Vrindavan like that. So they knew I was experienced with this, and one boy had done it the year before, tried to do it 24 hours a day. They didn't think that was appropriate. So they asked us if 3 of us would split the 24 hours up. So about the middle of the second week of doing this devotee Bhaskara, he and we were hippies together, we had joined the movement together. All of our service seemed to coincide together. We were sitting having lunch, and he was saying, did you notice Srila Prabhupada, he does the same thing at the same time every day? And I goes, yeah, it's amazing. You can almost set your watch. He goes, well, do you know, someone gave him a brand new pair of slippers the other day. And all he wears them is from his room to the curtain at the temple room, and he takes them off. After class, he puts them on and wears them up and takes them off at his door every day. And I goes, yeah. He goes, well, he says, they're brand new, and I kind of looked at them last night, and I got the model number and the manufacturer's name, and I bought another pair just exactly like them. Well, what are you going to do with them? His feet are not the same size as your feet. And he goes, well, tomorrow morning, he had the morning, I had the evening. He said, tomorrow morning when he goes down for class, he's going to wear his slippers down. I'm going to exchange them for my slippers. And then he'll wear my slippers back upstairs, and I will exchange them again. And I'll have a pair of slippers that Srila Prabhupada wore. Maybe just one time, but Srila Prabhupada will have worn my slippers. So I'm thinking, wow, that's a good idea. I said, so tomorrow I'm going to go out and buy a pair of slippers, and we'll do the same thing the next day. So the next day we do our service, we get together at lunch, and I says, well, did you get your slippers? He goes, yeah. I says, well, I says, where do I go buy mine? He says, you shouldn't do it. And I'm thinking, yeah, you got your slippers. So he says, no, he says, let me tell you what happened. He says, Srila Prabhupada put his slippers on in the morning, and he came downstairs, he took them off at the door at the temple room. I exchanged them. After class, Srila Prabhupada came back out and put his slippers on, my slippers. He wore them upstairs, and he wore them right into his room. He never took them off at the door. I'm going, really? What did you do? And he says, well, I stood there chanting japa thinking, what am I going to do now? He said, I was there, he says, about 5 minutes, and he says, this sannyasi came down, and he says, is your name Bhaskara? And he goes, yes. And he says, Srila Prabhupada has a message for you. He says, he wishes to thank you very much for the new slippers. And you may keep the old slippers. But most importantly, he said it is not nice to play tricks on the spiritual master.
They were reading Krishna book, and Prabhupada said, I don't remember what they were reading, but he goes, yes, in India, all the girls must be married. And if a suitable husband cannot be found, then they are married to a tree. So we were all going, well, as we're leaving the garden, I wonder what kind of tree they marry the women to. And there was a devotee girl from India, and she goes, that was a joke. I had no concept that Srila Prabhupada could joke. You know, when I saw him, I had butterflies in my stomach. It was like so serious, you know. But that was a joke.
One time we were going past Buckingham Palace. So we were very proud at that time that one boy had joined who was part of the Queen's Guards. You know, the guys who wear the big furry hats. So as we were passing the palace, we were in a taxi with Prabhupada. So we looked over and we said, Prabhupada, one of the Queen's personal guards has joined. And then Prabhupada said, oh, so what about the Queen?
So people would, I saw his wit, and the people would say, oh, Swamiji, you look so nice today. And he says, just today? He would be like that, fast wit.
A few days before I took sannyas, Prabhupada was being interviewed by a reporter in his quarters in L.A. and he knew something about Hinduism. He said, well, isn't it in India that old people take sannyas? Why are you giving sannyas to young people? So Prabhupada shot back, what does it mean to be old? The man had no answer. Prabhupada said, old means about to die. Can you say that I'm older than you? Can you say that you're not going to die before me? Can you say? And he couldn't answer that. He said, therefore we are giving them sannyas.
And so I would always see him chanting, chanting his rounds. And the one time I was in his quarters here in New Dwarka, and Prabhupada was chanting, and he was sitting, and I was just sitting in front of him, and he was chanting, and he pulled down his counter bead, and he said, he said, now I have finished my 16 rounds. I can do any damn thing I want.
Another funny thing in connection with sweet balls, that in the early days, Kirtananda was always trying to impose austerities on everyone. That was his mode at 26 2nd Avenue. And every Sunday, of course, they cooked a lot of sweet balls, and there'd be a lot left over. And the routine was that at breakfast time, you got those sweet balls with your cereal, which generally was farina. Drop them in the hot farina. It was really a very, delightful thing to have for breakfast. But Kirtananda insisted that we can't have more than 2. So it became an issue at ISKCON, and we discussed it and haggle over it. But it couldn't be resolved, so finally it came to Prabhupada's attention. Everybody assembled, and it was laid out before Prabhupada. So Prabhupada said, yes. So everyone can have as many sweet balls as they like, but Kirtananda can only have 2. So that was his sense of humor.
And since Siddhanta Prabhu is here, has been asking me to tell the story a million times. This is the last thing I'll say, just because he wants it on tape. Anyway, in 1975, at the opening of the Krishna Balaram Mandir, I was here with the party that I was with Tripurari Maharaj and Suradas, and there was a group of us working for the BBT party. In any case, Prabhupada did the first artik for Krishna Balaram. And after that, then there was an opportunity for the devotees who would do the first artik. And so Tripurari Maharaj was ambitious. He pushed his way in the Pujari room, and he grabbed Suradas and he grabbed me, and he said, we're doing it. And Bhagavan came in and he pushed him away. He said, no, we were here first. And Gurudas came in and he said, no, we were here first. And we were saying, Maharaj, just let him do it. Because we really weren't trained up so much in Pujari work. We had done a little bit here and there, but we were mostly doing book distribution. So in any case, we had to wait till Srila Prabhupada came in, and then the doors would open and we'd do the artik. And so that's what happened. We went in, and before we went in, the Pujari, who had been up for 3 days, came and said, this better be good, because all the biggest pundits from all over Vrindavan will be here. Srila Prabhupada will be watching personally, of course, and you want to make a good impression. So we were very nervous, and we waited, and finally Srila Prabhupada came for darshan. We opened the doors, and we walked to the front where all the paraphernalia was, and I froze, because I had never seen such paraphernalia. Long ghee wicks. I've seen small ghee wicks before, long ghee wicks, and all types of different paraphernalia, and washing the conch outside the room and everything like that. So when the artik started, also we had never done a simultaneous artik. That's very difficult in and of itself if you've never done it. So we were there, and then
Were you doing Krishna Balaram?
I was at Radheshama Sundar's altar. Tripurari Maharaj was at Krishna Balaram's altar, and Suradas was at Gaur-Nitai's altar. And there was a fan going over Gaur-Nitai's altar that no one could find the switch for, because the temple had just been built and it was going full speed. So he could barely do anything there with the chamara and lighting anything. And then Srila Prabhupada came in, he offered obeisance to Gaur-Nitai, Krishna Balaram, and he came to Radheshama Sundar's altar and stood there. And then, of course, all the GBC men and all the sannyasis, they stood behind Srila Prabhupada. And I turned around to look while I was offering the incense and practically fainted because Prabhupada was standing right there. Anyway, it went from bad to worse. as I continued to fumble through the process, and I was thinking the whole time that Srila Prabhupada may ask me to burn my Brahman's thread afterwards. I really thought that. I think when I turned around, I threw the water and it hit Tamal Krishna Maharaj square in the glasses, and he was, you know, I could see he was furious. So after the program, after the Artik, we came into the Pujari room, and Tripurari Maharaj said, now is the time to pray for forgiveness. And I went to the dark recesses of my room that I could find, and thought that I would stay there for a long time and pray for forgiveness. But the point is that after the Artik, Prabhupada had gone back to his room. This is the story we got from Rameshwar, who had gone back there, and Srila Prabhupada said, who is this doing Artik? And they said, Prabhupada, these were Tripurari Maharaj and his men, Prabhupada. He said, they don't know much about puja, but they distribute your books. And Prabhupada said, well, that is all right. That's what he told us when he came back. So anyway, after that time, I felt even more gratitude for Srila Prabhupada's mercy, and I also took it upon myself to learn how to do puja.
You know, in Chicago, Prabhupada said from the Vyasa-san, he told a story of Vishvamitra Muni and how he had performed penances and austerities for 60,000 of years. So Prabhupada said, so this is a very difficult process. He said, but for us, the results attained by Vishvamitra Muni, by 60,000 of years, you always put an S on the end, 60,000 of years performing this tapasya and penance, Prabhupada said, the devotee achieves by the performance of sankirtan. And he paused. He said, he was like, the devotee achieves by the performance of sankirtan. And Prabhupada looked at him and went, in a few days only. And the temple room, literally, it felt like the roof was going to be blown off. 200 devotees, and the reaction to that statement was so instantaneous, okay? And so joyous. It was almost like someone saying, normally it would take $1 million to get into this building or to get this car. But for the next 20 seconds, anyone in this room can have it for $1 only. You know, and everybody, what? They'd go crazy, right? So Prabhupada was saying, by performance of sankirtan in a few days only, right? And the devotees just, and Prabhupada realized how much he had satisfied everyone, and he had this smile on his face that was just amazing. And he was so happy to have made the devotees so happy.
The Memory Series, totaling 70 DVDs and 120 hours worth of oral histories by Prabhupada's disciples, is now available on one 256-gigabyte flash drive. This portable flash drive, which can easily attach to your keyring, is compatible with Mac, PC, and any smart TV. These first-hand anecdotes are guaranteed to enlighten and enliven every viewer or your money back.
It gives you very profound glimpses into Prabhupada's mood. Prabhupada acting Krishna consciousness in real time. How did the pure devotee apply the high philosophy in every type of practical situation imaginable? From devotees arguing to conflicting philosophical viewpoints, to dealing with somebody that left his movement, to dealing with somebody that was feeling insecure, to dealing with sexual issues, to every imaginable situation, philosophical deviation. I couldn't be in all these places where these I never had that type of association with Srila Prabhupada. But you can get all that association in these little anecdotes.
I must have fallen into Maya. Srila Prabhupada's answer at that point, he says, you're always in Maya. Sometimes you fall into Krishna. I like that.
So this has been, I feel, an invaluable contribution for future generations.
And if you order now, we will send you all future videos free of charge. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you for watching. Appreciate it. Now, I do have to mention, since Vaisheshika is not here, that speaking personally, that of all of my godbrothers who have taken that position to accept disciples on their own, he is the most qualified. That's my belief. Vaisheshika ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So, thank you. So, before the arti, please, one book per family. Hare Krishna.